Good evening, you're watching Estuary News. I'm Hugh Riches. In the headlines tonight, the search is on for a new non-emergency ambulance provider in North Lincolnshire, a new mental health campaign launches in Hull, and repairing potholes across the East Riding. And later in tonight's programme, I'll be talking to Gemma Leaning and Kelly Odlin about a charity fundraiser for Links and Notts Air Ambulance. And before that, Carol Davies on new volunteers for the League of Friends of Scunthorpe Hospital. The search is on for a new non-emergency ambulance provider in North Lincolnshire. Health bosses decided to drop its contract with Thames Ambulance Service yesterday following repeated failings. The service provides patient transport to thousands of residents across North Lincolnshire, taking them to and from hospital and surgeries for treatment. Thames has repeatedly been held to account over failings, and the NHS called for urgent action to improve or face the consequences. Thames has been told it will serve a year's notice. And the MP for Cleethorpes and Immingham, Martin Vickers, wants Thames to be sacked in North East Lincolnshire. The MP for Scunthorpe, Nick Dakin, gave his views on the service when I spoke to him on Hot Topic earlier this month.
This is not a service fit for purpose, and it needs to be replaced. We've made a lot of points about improvement, and hardly a week goes by when I don't write to them with a constituent issue. They are very good at responding eventually, but it's more a matter of saying, "Oh, we're sorry, we've got it wrong again." Well, after a while, that helps for a while, but after a while, that doesn't cut any ice, because you want the service to be decent for people. You know, I've had 80-year-olds having to wait a couple of hours at Castle Hill for the patient ambulance service to turn up when the whole of the rest of the department has closed down around them.
And Lincolnshire Partnership NHS Foundation Trust has reappointed its chair for a further 3 years. The Trust's governors approved the decision to offer Paul Devlin the position for a second term. He was first appointed in May 2015 and has served in a number of senior leadership roles. Young people have produced inspirational messages that will be broadcast along the west walkway of the Humber Bridge. It's part of a new campaign designed by volunteers aged between 12 and 20 from Head Start Hull to tackle the taboo of mental health. Campaigners hope to reach out to other children who may be suffering from low self-esteem and poor emotional health. The project will run until April.
So we have some speakers installed with our poems and positive messages to potentially prevent people from doing silly things on sort of like areas that people tend to go to. And it's just so people don't feel alone in the darkest times, especially when these sort of places tend to be very lonely, so that it's sort of when that monster inside their head can have the loudest voice. However, if there's other voices telling them nice things or just telling that we understand and that they are not alone, that way that monster can shush a little bit and hopefully they can seek support. Now I know that myself, if I had someone tell me you are not alone when I'm in a really dark place, it would mean a lot to me and potentially even save my life. But I'm still here because of people like that, because people were there for me, and I want those people to have someone like that as well at the darkest moments. Recovery is not a straight line, not that perfect graph going nice and steady from 0 to 10 over time. And it's just sort of going through that. But to be fair, all of us have so different messages. So it's not like a poem after poem is the same. They're so different because all of our experiences are so different as well. Basically, a lot of us are just trying to say, you are not alone. Stay with us, we understand.
There are plans to improve the lives of adults with autism in the East Riding. East Riding Clinical Commissioning Group and the East Riding Council have developed the draft Adults with Autism strategy that aims to enhance services available in the county. They also want to encourage communities and the public to develop an awareness and acceptance of autism. Service users can give their views on the strategy via www.eastridingofyorkshireccg.nhs.uk/adults with autism until the 4th of June. Work on flood alleviation schemes in East Yorkshire will now be completed at the end of April. The recent bad weather has caused delays to the construction work on Beverley Road near Anlaby. The road was originally due to reopen at the end of this month. The works are part of the Anlaby and East Ella flood alleviation scheme designed to reduce the risk of flooding to almost 3,000 homes and more than 70 businesses, all of which were affected by the 2007 floods. The scheme will see the creation of floodwater collection structures and a water storage lagoon linked by a storm drain and watercourses. The old schoolhouse care home in Beverley is campaigning for a new sensory garden. The home cares for people living with advanced dementia. The campaign to raise funds for the garden comes from Tesco's Bags of Help scheme. The activities coordinator for the old schoolhouse says the garden would give its residents a better quality of life.
Well, here at the old schoolhouse, we're really lucky. We've got a nice, safe garden. But what we want to do is kind of make it more interactive and sensory, have lots of things for people to look at and interact with and enjoy as they wander through the home. At the moment, it's just a nice, quiet space to be in, and we want to have something to kind of stimulate conversation, have somewhere to wander about with your family when they're coming to visit you. We're quite unique here at the old schoolhouse. Everyone here is living with advanced dementia. So they have a number of kind of complex needs and, you know, difficulties with communicating or kind of conveying what they want. And so to have something that you can, a project, you know, to get your hands dirty, to move about, have something to chat about, have something to work on, we think will really kind of enrich people's experience here with their families. As part of the activities team, we want to be doing stuff out in the community, but also a lot of our service users, they might not leave very far outside this space, so the more we can do in the home that's kind of interactive and fun and bringing the community in, the better that is for us as a home. Well, in Tesco store Beverley, at the end of the tills there are 3 little voting bays, and so one of them is the old schoolhouse digging for dementia. So, you know, we're looking for people's vote for voting for the old schoolhouse. So first prize is £4,000, second prize is £2,000, and the third prize is £1,000. So we definitely know we're getting some funding towards our garden, which is great, and it's just a case of how much support we get will affect how much money we get.
Now, the Scunthorpe Hospital League of Friends is looking for new volunteers. I'm joined now by Carol Davies to tell me how people can get involved. Carol, welcome. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you for having me here.
Now, what is the League of Friends? It sounds like a collection of superheroes.
Indeed, I'd like to think we all are. Basically, the League of Friends is something that was set up shortly after the advent of the NHS in 1948, and it was there to form a support system for the NHS. Obviously, just after the war, a lot of the NHS was working on a shoestring because there was a lot of maintenance required to buildings and things. So the League of Friends was set up locally to support each of the local hospitals, to provide things that were over and above the maintenance, such as flowers, vases, curtains around cubicles, chocolates and things like that. Now obviously we don't do that any longer, we're not allowed to, but what we do tend to provide these days is a lot of equipment and support for appeals for equipment. So for instance, you yourself had the maternity bereavement suite people on last week.
We did.
And they have contacted us to ask if we can help them, and we've been pleased to support them so that they can get going with their campaign to format this suite for bereaved parents.
And that's sort of soft furnishings, as it were, but you do hard medical kit as well.
We certainly do, yes. We do everything from the really small things. So for instance, we'll donate a box of sweets to Ward 18 at Scunthorpe Hospital, which is the cancer ward for people to have after chemotherapy. But on the other hand, we will also donate large equipment. So last year we donated a shoulder arthroscopy kit to Scunthorpe Hospital for the Scunthorpe theatres.
I don't know what that is. What is it?
I'm going to be totally honest with you and say, as I'm not a surgeon, I'm not 100% certain myself, but
it's something they needed anyway.
It was something they needed. They do work in conjunction with the Grimsby Hospital, and the NHS had provided one, but the problem was it was based at Grimsby, and it might sound a silly thing because we're not a million miles away, but it was actually the transportation and getting it over to Scunthorpe. So the League of Friends was able to step in and assist them by providing another one. So it's things like that.
Now, how do you go about raising money, raising these funds?
In the past, a lot of it has been raised through things like Christmas fairs and functions, but in this day and age, our volunteers, we are very thin on the ground with volunteers. So at the moment, a lot of our money is raised by, we still receive money from legacies, people that have left us in their will, but it's raised by people donating money when we're able to have a presence at an event. So for instance, last year we did attend some school fairs and we were able to take a tombola stand and things like that. And this is where we need help, we need feet on the ground. We may have a stand, for instance, in a supermarket so that we can give people information so that they can learn what the League of Friends is all about, and very generously they'll quite often, you know, pop a little bit into our tins. So it's things like that. This is where we are desperately need people on the ground.
How many volunteers do you have now? How many friends are there?
At the moment, we're very thin on the ground. We do have two levels of volunteer. If I can just explain, we have the volunteers, which is literally people feet on the ground attending these events, but we do have a second sort of tier for members. These are the people that attend committee meetings, and it is a slightly higher commitment because they do need to attend a meeting at least once a month with us. But at the moment we are, as I say, very thin on the ground, and we're down to our last 6 people.
Well, you're recruiting then.
Yes.
How do people get in touch if they want to join you?
There's various ways. We do have a website which can be found at www.sghlof.org.
Okay.
Stands for Scunthorpe General Hospital League of Friends.org.
I think that's the way that people are going to have to get to you, Carol.
I think that's the easiest
Thanks
thing.
very much. Join me after the break when Jack brings us a roundup of all the latest sports news, and I'll be talking to Gemma Leaning about raising funds for the Links and Notts Air Ambulance. Welcome back. You're watching Estuary News. Still to come tonight, Jack brings us a roundup of all the latest sporting action, and I'll be talking to Gemma Leaning and Kelly Odlin about raising funds for an air ambulance. Lincolnshire Police is introducing new measures to promote staff well-being. The force will have 2 additional days per year to be used to nurture the personal well-being of officers and staff. It's the first time that this has been tried in policing, and it's designed to encourage employees to consider how well they are and what could make them healthier. The initiative is one of a number of projects to be introduced over the next few months to help the mental, physical and emotional welfare of staff. Property owners across Lincolnshire are being warned of rogue traders. Fraudulent contractors are claiming to work for the County Council's Highways Department, offering driveway repaving and tarmacking services. A rogue contractor will see legitimate work being carried out by the authority before approaching older and vulnerable people. They say they work for the council and offer to resurface residents' drives. After the work's carried out, the owner receives a bill of up to £25,000 before the fraudster offers a cash settlement on the debt. Lincolnshire County Council says it does not perform this sort of work on private land. The University of Lincoln has been highly rated by its students. The Times Higher Education Student Experience Survey examined the opinions of more than 20,000 undergraduates on a range of topics. These included academic experience, student welfare and accommodation. The university was placed in 23rd position out of 116 institutions. The former Barclays Bank in Market Weighton is in the hands of new owners. The Town Council has bought the building, saying their current offices are no longer fit for purpose due to a lack of disabled access and space. There are plans to build an entertainment venue at the back of the bank. Now, I'm joined by Gemma Leaning and Kelly Odlin to tell me about a charity fundraiser next month for the Links and Notts Air Ambulance. Welcome, both of you. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Now, what are you doing to raise money for the air ambulance?
We're hosting a Splash for Cash event on the 19th of April. The idea is to put some staff from the Grimsby Institute into some stocks and charge the students to throw some wet sponges at them.
Now, I should emphasise that you are both students at Grimsby Institute.
We are, yes.
OK, we'll come back to that in a moment. Do you think there's going to be a great appetite for chucking wet sponges at the teachers
Definitely.
upon whose grades your future depends?
Definitely. It's not just lecturers that we've got involved. We have Jill Allerton.
Jill Alton, yes,
Jill
the managing director, chief executive of Grimsby Institute.
That's right. Deborah Gray, the principal of Grimsby Institute. Simon Bryson, one of the programme leaders. Ian Rodwell, one of the lecturers. Sarah Howard for the care sector as well. Simon Fenwick from the library service, and James Hanna, the success coach. So we've got a nice mix in there.
OK, well, anybody involved in Grimsby Institute knows who all those people are.
Definitely.
They're being good sports about it, I guess.
Definitely, yeah. They're very brave.
OK. And Kelly, what are you doing?
We're doing a coffee morning, coffee with a cause. We're just going to be selling tea, coffee, some cordial, just because obviously it's in the college bit as well. So we want to cater for college students as well. There will be a raffle where there is a £50 first prize amongst other bits that we've all managed to pick up from shops and different places.
Very nice.
We are running it alongside them so that we can sort of try and group it together a bit more.
And this too is all going on the 19th of April at Grimsby Institute.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that in the HE building there?
It'll be, ours is run between the two buildings, so between FE and HE,
Right.
in the forecourt, and ours runs between 11 and 1.
Ours is 10 o'clock onwards, and it's in the main hall part of the college.
OK, so you can go and get soaked if you're a member of staff in the morning, and then go and get a warm cup of coffee
That's it,
later
yes.
on. Why, Gemma, why the Links and Knots Air Ambulance?
It's quite poignant for a lot of the students. Simon Bryson, our programme leader, I'm sure you've had on the show.
We're very often, yes, we're old friends.
As you're aware, required the services of the air ambulance. So through Simon, he's running the marathon, London Marathon, on behalf of the air ambulance later this year. And all the money that we raise is going into his cause as well. And other people that we know have also used the air ambulance. Another lecturer, his daughter was in a car accident and needed it, and then recently a friend of mine whose daughter required it locally as well.
So you got your own connections, but
Definitely.
you also, Kelly, you probably wouldn't have had much choice in the matter here, I suspect, knowing your circumstances.
Well, we had the choice whether we wanted to do it for that specific charity, and we thought with it going to the tutor, we thought it'd be better.
You're both students at Grimsby Institute, and Simon Bryson is your tutor.
Yeah.
So I think you've done the tactful and diplomatic thing here. Certainly.
It's a very worthwhile cause, and they really need every penny they can to keep going. It's £2.5 million each year to keep that in the air. So I think anything we can do, we're more than happy to help.
What are you both studying? Kelly, what are you studying?
I'm studying tourism management.
Yeah, and I'm
Gemma?
events management.
So effectively, what you're putting on the 19th of April is a practical demonstration of your academic skills.
Definitely.
So you're tying all the ends nicely up together here, aren't you, I suppose? Where do you have the idea? This Splash for Cash thing, this seems very intriguing to me. How do you get the idea for that?
Well, we had a few different ideas, with it being around Easter fairs, different things, but we decided to keep it more on campus and involve the students, get the students involved, and a bit of revenge, really, I think.
Definitely, yeah.
Something a bit fun. Just to get everybody involved.
Okay, these are soft sponges, let's emphasise. They're not going to do anybody,
Yes.
not going to do anybody any harm. There's always a website. If people want to donate money or make some other sort of contribution to the air ambulance, how should they do that?
Yeah, I believe they do have their own collection page, and Simon's got his own page as well on Just Giving.
Okay.
And we will have donation buckets out as well. If someone doesn't want to throw any sponges but would still like to get involved, there is some sponges.
We'll want to be throwing the sponges, I think.
There is some out there, and we've also got some live entertainment on the day.
Oh, yes, you've got a singer, haven't you?
Yeah, we've got Sarah Peterson coming to perform, and she's donating her time for us.
Thank you both very much for coming in. Have a
Thanks
wonderful
very
day.
much, Andy.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Here's Jack with all the sports news.
We'll begin with football, and the obvious place to start is with Scunthorpe United. The Iron sacked manager Graham Alexander on Saturday evening after the 1-1 draw with Rochdale at Glanford Park. Alexander's 2-year spell in charge came to an end after a run of 8 League One matches without a win. United have won just twice since the turn of the year, but despite this, the decision comes as a surprise to some, with the club sitting 5th in the table. Scunthorpe's chairman, Peter Swan, yesterday criticised the players, saying that some of them should feel guilty about his dismissal. He added that certain players haven't performed to their standards and have let the manager down, and said it's down to them to turn things around. One of those players is Ivan Toney, who scored United's equaliser against Rochdale. He said the squad are aware they need to perform better.
I think, yeah, not just myself, all the lads know. They've been in the game long enough, and they know what we need to do. There's no room for disappointment, and we need to win, really. We need to get a few points over the Easter.
On to League Two now, and Grimsby Town have big problems of their own to deal with. The Mariners are only 3 points above the relegation zone and have played just 2 more games than the second bottom Chesterfield Town. Michael Jolly is yet to win in 3 games that he's had in charge since succeeding Russell Slade as manager. Town were thrashed 4-0 by Coventry City at the weekend, and Jolly said the performance was not of the required standard. Grimsby's next match against Stevenage at Blundell Park is on Good Friday, and Jolly said the squad must regroup as they search for that long-awaited victory. In Rugby League, it's bad news for Hull Kingston Rovers' back rower George Lawler. The 22-year-old suffered a devastating double injury in the 30-6 defeat to St Helens last Friday. Lawler will undergo surgery on a dislocated ankle, but he also broke his leg in the game at K-Con Craven Park. After the game, Robins head coach Tim Sheens had sympathy for a player who's now expected to miss the rest of the season.
George broke the leg, dislocated the ankle. I think a compound break as well. It could have been much worse, to be quite honest. One of those real ugly injuries. So no consensus yet as to how long that'll be, but we won't see him for a while, quite a while. Hopefully back this season. The damage around the ankle is always the worry on those things. So I've seen it finish players if the cartilage is damaged badly, but hopefully not.
And that's all for today's sport. Back to Hugh in the studio.
Thanks, Jack. That's it for tonight. Scunthorpe Hospital League of Friends available on Facebook and Twitter, as are we. Yeah, there we go. Or email news@estuary.tv or phone Grimsby 01472315553 or write to us, Estuary TV, Nuns Corner, Laceby Road, Grimsby, DN345BQ. For now, good evening.